Welcome to another St. By Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back, everyone, to the St. By Night Twitch stream where we play St. Petersburg By Night, a massive multiplayer 5th edition chronicle set in the world of darkness in St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent. You can find me on all social media, but that's not important. What is important is that you go follow St. By Night on all social media as listed down below for as long as social media lasts, as we might be seeing the ending days of social media with, certain services possibly coming to an end in the next few months. Tonight, we are playing our Rage Across Tampa Chronicle, a Tampa set in the system of Werewolf the Apocalypse, where our pack of Guru have been struggling, to say the very least, to establish a foothold in the city of Tampa, a predominantly kindred-dominated city over the past decade. But they are making progress, even if it is some days of one step forward, 2 steps back. I couldn't do this alone, of course. Otherwise, I'd be talking into the void like I do on After Dark many weeks of the month. Instead, I get to do this with some amazing players. So players, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Hey everybody, my name's Preston. I play Aiden Goodspeed, the Rune of the Gale Stalkers.
Hey everybody, I'm Champ Champagne, woo girl, ooh woo, whatever you want to call me, and I will be playing Aspen Weiss, Philodog Silverfangs.
I love going after you. Hi everybody, I am Nori, and I will be playing Malicious Jester, the Black Fury Galliard.
Hey everyone, I'm Simon. I'll be playing Joseph Ashspeaker, the Theurge from the Ghost Council.
Last week, things got a little tense in the pack. There was a bit of a conversation that needed to take place, not just among individuals, but amongst the group as a whole. Aspen announced her intentions to have Ryder brought into the Sept once more. Ryder, who was formerly the Sept leader before the cairn fell over a decade ago. Being in the throes of Hoglosk makes one violent. It makes them unpredictable. But one thing that can be said for sure is it makes them driven. But what they're driven towards and how they get there, it could be potentially damaging. So there's a lot of risk to be taken on by bringing in someone like Ryder back into the sept and back into the fold. However, Aspen truly believes that there is something worth redeeming there, that there is something of value, and that Ryder's addition is worth the risk. The rest of the pack seems slightly unsure. While Aspen has Aiden and Artie's support, Jester and Joseph believe there is some unfinished business, some questions to be answered, and some debts still to be paid. For tonight's story, we're going to be following several different paths, as there are confessions to be made and confrontations to be had. And here on Rage Across Tampa, we like to start things out hot. So we're going to start with one of those very confrontations. Joseph, you have been meaning to have a conversation with Ryder. In the past, every time you've encountered Ryder, you've had other members of the pack with you, usually taking the lead and allowing you to do the socially awkward observer. But this time, you've made the decision to face Ryder on your own, alone, with no one else to back you. Now, Ryder's strength has been shown in his spar with Aiden, and that he is a very, very dangerous individual. I'd like you to talk about what's going through Joseph's mind before entering into the motorcycle club, as well as his motivations for coming here alone this evening.
So Joseph is, to say the least, a little nervous about what he's doing, because he knows just how dangerous Ryder can be. But he also knows, to uphold what honor that he has, Joseph has, he needs to listen to his pack and to pack leadership, and respect their honor. And he knows among the pack he might be the worst liar, even worse than Aiden. Although Aiden hasn't learned that much of the human trickery. I think Joseph still, he just doesn't hide it that well. So Joseph's plan is to rip the Band-Aid off, is to get in there, say his piece, make it very clear where he stands and why he stands where he does, and make it very clear what the path forward between Joseph and Ryder is going to be. And then hear what Ryder has to say.
Okay. Now, in advance of this meeting, did you notify Ryder of your intention to visit with him, or are you kind of dropping by unannounced?
No, I would let him know that I intend to come and talk to him, and that I do not intend to come to fight with him, but I feel that we need to have a conversation.
Okay. So with that kind of advanced forewarning, with that heads up, when you arrive at the motorcycle club tonight, you find it seemingly deserted. There doesn't appear to be anyone else present, no other motorcycles parked in the lot except for one single motorcycle, which seems to be parked near the back of the building.
That's not intimidating at all.
As you approach the front door to the club, which usually is thumping with music, it's dead silent inside. Not a single song playing, not a single voice to be heard. But as you try the handle to the door, you do find that it is unlocked, and then it gives way. Entering into the club, the only glow coming from the bar area, the kind of common meeting ground, is the halogen signs advertising the various beverages that would normally be served at a bar. Some of them look like they probably didn't come with this establishment and were somehow self-installed. They don't have kind of the professional hanging you would expect in an actual public establishment. But there is another light on, and it's the light leading into the garage workshop back room that seems to be flooding through the slightly partially cracked doorway that leads into the back of the club.
I will go back there. I remember that room pretty well.
Heading back into the back room, pulling open the door, you can see that the overhead kind of work lights are on that bathe the entire area with a pretty heavy, luminescence. You can see the caged off area where the parts normally are hung, as well as various other implements that they use in their trade. And you can even see, reflecting off of the glow of the light, the large silver clave that seems to be hung in its position of reverence. As you make your way into the room, you kind of see the back door that leads outside of the building slightly ajar as well. And as you kind of look around, you see nobody else in the room at first, until a moment later the door kind of swings open, kind of nudged open slightly from the outside, and you see the large, massive Hispo form of Ryder enter. Now, Ryder, in his former state, might have been easily indistinguishable from other Guru in such a form. But in his current condition, ever since the death of the cairn 10 years ago, there is clearly gnarled burn scarring going up the side of his lupine face, to the point that the teeth are constantly exposed, and even some of the bones can be seen on the side of his face coming through. He kind of looms in his large form, and then just inside the doorway kind of starts to shake. And as he does, fur starts to melt away, replaced by skin, most of it along the one side, burned all the way down his neck and even onto a good portion of his arm. His clothes are not dedicated, so when his transition is complete, he is completely naked. But right beside the door, you can see that there are some jeans that are kind of hung over some railing, as well as the leather vest that he's commonly seen sporting. He reaches over and closes the back door and starts to get dressed, pulling on the pants and pulling on the vest. Sorry, I'm late.
It's all right.
You haven't been waiting long?
No, I just walked in.
Good. You want something to drink?
Yeah, I'll take a beer.
He kind of makes his way over as he finishes letting his clothes kind of settle on. Goes over to a cooler, opens it, pulls out one beer, sets it on the table, pulls out another, and just with a hand kind of twists the top off before dropping into one of the folding chairs at the table, gesturing and kind of kicking with one foot out the chair across from him.
Thank you. He'll sit down.
I was wondering when we'd have a chat. Just you and I. We haven't exchanged a lot of words in the past.
No, we haven't.
You said you had some things you wanted to say.
Yeah. I'm gonna be blunt. I think you'd appreciate that. You don't want the flowery words of some spiritualist. So I'm not gonna give you those. But I'll jump right into it. I don't trust you. I think you know why. But nothing can happen if we don't get this out. It's not fair to my pack for me to hold this in and leave something between us. To be perfectly honest, I'm a shit liar, unlike some other people around. You'd know immediately. You could probably already smell it on me. I really don't have a reason to trust you yet. But being creatures of honor, I understand my pack leadership wants to include you in what we are doing. We've had discussions amongst the pack, and there is a desire to see you return to the fold, to see you not alone. I'm hesitant because of what has happened. And really, I don't 100% like it. Then again, we're Geru. We have to do shit we don't like. So I see in you a creature that has had much, much glory. I know that inside there is wisdom to be taught, but at the moment, I don't see a lot of honor.
You can kind of see him bristle slightly at that. His shoulders kind of hunch up, but he doesn't seem to make any sudden movements, though you do see his hand on the beer bottle really tense up, almost white knuckling it.
I figured that would sting. But sometimes you need a little sting to let the medicine work. There is a way out. There is a way to reclaim the honor that you've earned in the past. It is not my decision on whether or not you earned that honor. I am just one Geru. It is up to the spirits. It is up to this burgeoning sept. It is up to many, many things. And my place as a speaker for the spirits is to not let my ego get in the way. Grandmother Willow is willing to let you back. She will have her own set of chiminage that is going to be between you and her. But when I asked her, she said she was willing, and I have to respect that. I don't have to like it. And maybe you can change my mind.
You aren't saying anything that I haven't thought thousands of times since the cairn fell. The day it fell, or the night rather, when the nation turned its back and went away. You're not wrong. Honor became the least of my worries. Hasn't even really been something I've cared too much for since. Simply because who do I have anything to prove to? They abandoned me. They abandoned us. As for the spirit, she must be truly desperate. What other choice does she have?
You stayed your hand. She remembers.
Sometimes I wish I had. But not today. It's not one of those times.
I'm glad you did.
So what do you need? What are you looking for? What do I have to prove to you?
What you did for us not too long ago, when we had to step away. Do that again. Keep doing that. Don't blow shit up. I've seen what can happen when you listen to Aspen and when you work with a team. I just need more of that, because like one successful favor, it's going to take a lot to outweigh that, but you keep going forward. You do what you can with the spirits. When they tell me they're happy with you, that will help. But really, it's not me that you need to worry about. I'm just one person. Whether or not you gain my respect is going to happen based on who you are. And it may happen, it may not. You can't change that. You do right by the spirits, you'll get it back.
That's where you're wrong. Or at least maybe a little bit ignorant. Your trust is more valuable to me than the trust of the spirits. Spirits are fickle. Their minds change by the moment, by the day. But you and I share something that they don't. Something that they can't. We are here. And we have to live with here every single day. They can come, they can go, pass from the Umbra and back as they wish. In fact, it's probably been a little difficult for them being stuck on that side without us tending their openings for them to come across as they like. But you and I know, we get it. Because we have to live it. We have to know that every action we take has that consequence. On us and on them. It's a burden. Whereas they just get to live with it. They have no real power in their own world. They just adapt to whatever we do. And what little power they assert here is only because we give them the means. So no, I don't think that the respect and trust of the spirits is what matters to me. I think I do have to earn your trust, Joseph. You are the go-between, the one who speaks to and for them. But also, you're Guru. And the things I do affect you a lot more than it'll affect them. I won't say your faith is misplaced, but I'll say maybe the priorities could be adjusted slightly, more in favor of those that stand with you rather than those that depend on you, those that, like a parasite, feed off of your actions and your words. Because they won't have your back. They won't stand beside you when the fight actually happens. They'll give you some gifts, sure. Some neat little abilities. But they can't pick up arms. They can't bleed for us. They won't stop a bullet made of silver. They won't stay a blade coming for your throat. But I will. Because I have and always will protect my kind.
And respect that position and that perspective. I have a job. You have a job. We're never going to have the same perspective because of that. To some extent, I hear your point. I see your point. And that is why we have our roles. It is the Aaron's job to keep us grounded and to keep us safe. It is my job to be the go-between. It is the Philodox's job to make sure we don't kill each other. So yeah, no, I hear you. And to your wishes, if you continue to show what you just said and to make that action, if you continue to listen to us, this little group, and what this little group needs, because you're right, the nation's not here, it is us. If you continue to work with us and talk to us about what's going on, and we can work with you, then that respect will be built. That is all we can do, is move forward. I came here because it is not fair to you or to anyone else that we don't get this out. That is all. I didn't come here to say that I'm going to vote against you every step of the way, or that I'm going to actively get in your way of earning your place. Just airing it.
I respect that. You didn't bring the scrappy one. So that means you knew if I didn't like what you had to say, this could have ended very badly for you, but you did it anyway. And that means something to me.
We got to take risks. And I had faith that what I had to say would be respected enough that you wouldn't just gut me.
There's nothing to be gained by that for either of us.
Right now, we need each other, whether we like it or not. There's just a few of us.
I've been saying that since the day we met.
Yeah, and I listened to you. I vouched for you when everyone else was afraid of you and Aiden going a little rough. I'm like, nah, I've seen worse. I'm one of the few that's been to a few moots and seen some of your clan or your tribe and some of the more rambunctious types really going at it. Yeah, you scared Aspen, but Aaron can take it.
Speaking of Aspen, she had some pretty strong words herself last time I saw her. You know it's not tradition for a Philodox to be in charge in wartime.
Yeah, I know. But it's also tradition to have a fully fledged cairn during a war, and it's tradition to have a sept behind you. It's not tradition to have a stargazer as a mentor. Like, we're all pups. There's not a lot of tradition here. We're gonna do what's gonna work.
Do you trust her judgment?
You know, if you would have asked me a few months ago, I would have told you no. If you would have asked me that night when we first met, I would have told you no. I didn't know her. I didn't know anybody here. We all came in here knowing each other for like a couple days. But I've seen her make decisions I've seen her make calls. I've seen her step up when needed. And yeah, I trust her judgment.
He kind of reaches over to another folding chair next to him, and when he picks it up, or picks up the item that's on the folding chair, he reveals a newspaper that is reporting on the confession given by the Stheno member and Bateman's last press conference. And he kind of tosses it down on the table. Is she going to be able to make the tough calls?
She has.
You can't underestimate the leeches. Not all the battles can be won in courtrooms or boardrooms. That's where they thrive.
You're right. And we get to see that. Like this is clearly their actions, and they're moving. And I don't know if there's anything we can do for that one. But it was one of us versus them. We can't lose one of us.
What about the other them? And he kind of points to the picture of Mia.
That's what I mean. That I hate to say it. I don't think we can do anything for her.
How's Jester gonna take that?
Oh, like shit. But yeah, it's part of what we do, and it sucks.
Yeah, it does. I know I seem heartless for what I did at that hospital or at that energy plant. That I didn't care about the individuals inside, the innocents. And maybe, I'll admit, it was a bit rash. I've been doing this on my own. I haven't had spiritual guidance. I haven't had voices of reason.
You haven't had collateral damage. Like, not that you haven't had things hurt you, but you haven't had other Garu who had to feel the brunt of it. You could handle it on your own. And that was new to you. For so long.
I can't promise you that everything I do going forward won't have its drawbacks. I might make mistakes. But what I can promise you, as the theopurgist, therapist, theurge, is that my heart's in the right place. I don't know what that is worth, but I see you. I see the others, and I recognize that we are in this together.
Let's start with not hiding other shit, keeping it open. That's the big thing. Like, we figured we got the explosives out of your head, and there they went. You know, that was the big. We could have planned differently if we knew it was going to happen no matter what. We just got to know. Right? We could have had contingencies if we would have known that was inevitable. But We didn't. That's the real betrayal there. And like, if you knew that those mortals were done and there was no going back, if we knew that too, if it would have been better for them to be gone because they were too far gone, I don't know, right? But I know that those decisions are things we have to make, that sometimes they're going to be so corrupted by the others that the best thing we can do is put them down. Gotta prune the branch.
When we went there, I didn't know how it was going to end. I didn't plan for it to go back down that way. When I saw with my own eyes what was inside, I made the decision then. And I'm not used to having to consult with others, even when there was a sept here. I made the calls. But I understand that things have changed. And while a part of me bristles at the idea of taking orders from a lawyer, you're right that she seems to be proving herself and knowing what she's doing. When she told me to cause that distraction without killing anyone, I saw the wisdom in that. And so I did it. I will do my best.
Thank you.
I can't. I can't tell you what kind of odds we have.
I don't want to know.
Just put a little bit more of that faith in the ones you surround yourself with and not in the spirits, because the spirits will pull back before the others will.
They have their jobs. I expect them to do their jobs. And I understand what their jobs are. And sometimes what it takes to get them to do something different. I felt the spirits ripping water out of my lungs. I know that can happen, but I know it's not normal.
All right. In the interest of disclosure, I found another one. They haven't changed yet, but they're getting close.
Yeah.
A boy.
At the zoo?
Yeah. So you found him too.
Not me. But we have Aiden. He's got a good nose for it, I guess.
Interesting.
But I appreciate you telling me that. I think something's happening.
There hasn't been one to change in almost a decade, other than that squirrely little vanilla Bob Marley you run with.
Yeah. We're gonna look at finding him and kind of have a fire lit under our ass to get him safe.
And I'll leave him be, out of respect. If you
Thank
got eyes on him, then I will keep my eyes elsewhere.
I mean, if you see him getting into shit, back him up. But we're going to try and get him in with us and get him some safety. Maybe not have a horrible first change.
Wouldn't that be something? All right. Well, now you know what I know. There's nothing else to tell. Yet.
Be in touch and let me know what happens.
Will do.
He'll get up and he'll extend a hand out.
Ryder will pause for a moment, and you can kind of see that he's slightly conflicted, but he does eventually set down the beer and extend his hand and give you a nice firm shake, but gentle enough not to hurt you in any fashion.
Not to break me. I'll squeeze fairly hard just to show respect.
He kind of smirks at that.
This is step one. Hopefully of many.
Hopefully.
Finish his beer and head out.
What could have been a very tense confrontation instead was a confession of sorts, a confession of Joseph's hesitation towards Ryder, a confession of Ryder's struggle over the past decade. The thing about confessions is there's a lot of them, a variety, a span of them, and not all of them are bad. So with our next scene, we find ourselves in Lettuce Lake Park at the RV campsite of Aspen and Aiden. What's this particular evening look like for Aspen and Aiden? How are they meeting? How are they having this conversation?
Aspen would have a couple of chairs outside, which she normally does. A cozy blanket, just kind of sitting, letting Aiden probably go do his hunting thing, waiting for him to come back to have their nightly conversation and just relax.
So the last lights of the sun are kind of fading off on the western horizon. The kind of dull glow settling in the sky, a series of purples and oranges, a little bit of red. But the stars are starting to shine through the veil of the last rays of sunlight. As Aiden, you have successfully hunted once again. You're finding yourself continually rotating your patterns, kind of varying things up to stay unpredictable to the prey. But you did catch a sizable rabbit, enough to sate your hunger and satisfy your patron as you return to the RV to see Aspen waiting for you. And the scene is yours.
There we go. Aiden will kind of come out of the different brush that's there in his lupus form and then walk up and take a quick look to make sure that there is no other people around, and then go into his... No one else is around, right?
No one else is around.
Okay.
You always do a nice kind of circle around the campsite before you'll enter, just to make sure there aren't any onlookers.
I didn't want to have to deal with that. Okay. He'll turn into his Hamid form and kind of walk up and look at the chair, like, and then the blanket in the chair, like, I feel like a chair kind of day. And
Yeah.
just take a seat.
What, no heart today?
It's just a rabbit. And I may have gotten a little into it and ate it. I can go get another one.
No, that's okay. I prefer like the big, hearty organs.
Oh, yeah. All right, next one, sure, yeah.
Nope, that was.
There's
I
a
shouldn't have said
spot
that.
just north where the deer usually run. That should be in like a couple weeks when I go hunt that again. There's a big buck out there. I've been kind of leaving, just so but Rutch is done, so he should have already had all those babies up and going. So, yeah, I can get that one next time.
Nope. Nope. We're okay.
But you said you wanted the big one.
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Okay, yeah. So next time. Yeah. 2 weeks. I should be able to do that.
Perfect. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, I'll push it to the side or something. Try not to bite it or damage it. Also, get the full. Yeah, I know you like it. You'd say you don't, but
Why not? Sure.
yeah.
So, how are things with you? So we've got the writer thing, I think, kind of for the most part figured out. And we've got to figure out the Jester thing and the Karen thing and the cult thing. Um,
Got a lot of things.
yeah.
I'm doing all right with it. I'm just kind of rolling with it. The you know, rivers don't necessarily just take a straight line. They bend with the land. So, just kind of trying to do that.
Fair enough.
How are you, Miss Bulldozer?
Good. I'm doing okay. I just a lot of balls up in the air.
Balls?
Yeah, like juggling, you know.
You can juggle? Ah, I've never seen that.
It's a metaphor, but
So you can't. Okay.
no, I cannot. I cannot juggle.
You should learn though.
Okay, I'll practice, I guess.
Yeah. About the whole cult thing, though. I know those other three we were kind of holding off on for right now. That doesn't necessarily sit well with me, to be honest. I don't like people that don't really know what they're getting into or what they do know but have been lied to. I feel that they need to get out of that situation. So I want to do something. I don't know what to do about it. I can't go take care of Mr. Yellow Eyes person. Dude scary.
Well, maybe you could try to keep an eye on the ones that haven't changed and see if you can get them alone by themselves and I don't know, take it from there, watch them, see what they do.
Yeah. Not really great at the whole talking and convincing that's your thing.
Yeah, and then that kind of counterbalances. I'm not really good at the stalking and watching. That's kind of your thing.
Yeah, you are terrible at it.
Yeah, still am.
Yeah. But no, I'll try and keep an eye on them though. And then Jester's friend heard about what happened and stuff. Do you have a plan to deal with that? Or are you just kind of rolling with that as well? Or is that one just kind of like, that's rough?
Yeah, because that sounds like me. Just let's throw that to the side. No, I don't know if I have a plan per se. I think we need more information. The problem I think is the biggest problem is how Jester's taking all of it. I feel like she's moving down a not so great path.
Yeah. I know she has to lie low. I want to talk to her, but she's got to like stay put. And if we have a lot of people showing up to parties, it can look bad or cause suspicions.
Yeah, I mean, she probably would love to be checked up on. Somebody who didn't, uh, doom all of her friends. That'd probably be better.
I
But-
don't think you. Yeah.
Well, who knows what it is from her perspective, but I think she just wants to do something, and I think that need to do something it's not going to end great for her.
You'll figure it out, and we'll all work together, and we'll get it all sorted, and there'll be a plan. This one's not it's necessarily easy. Is just get in there, grab them, and get out. Humans make things difficult.
Leeches make things even more difficult.
Yeah, but that's what you're for. You're fighting on their playing field, right? Like, what is it? On their field court thing.
Their turf, yeah.
Yeah, that ground stuff. That's not ground.
Yeah. That's kind of the problem, though, is they're always going to be a step ahead, I think.
Yeah, but you're smarter than they are.
I mean, I would hope so, but they have the benefit of tons of years of knowledge.
Yeah, but that's what your books are for, right? Aren't those like the way that humans keep all their smart stuff?
That is how we keep our smart stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So you just need to go read those.
I'll work on it. We'll see. Hopefully I can find something, anything that'll give us a leg up, but
There was a movie on the Big N about this person who got into a college. She's really stupid though, but ended up being really smart and being a lawyer, and ended up outsmarting everybody because she did things outside of the square. So maybe you could try that.
that movie was not realistic. But yeah, sure. I'll take a page from the book of Legally Blonde. Absolutely.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, the peanut butter cup spatula person was in it.
What?
It was the name. The little cup thing that put the peanut butter in it, and then
Reese Witherspoon?
yeah, she was in it.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
nope. That makes sense. Actually, that makes perfect sense.
I couldn't remember her name, but I remember those little puck things.
And you don't remember what a spoon is called.
A spoon, the spatula, but you'd scoop stuff with it. It's like a little shovel.
Okay. So, you're gonna have to sit here and listen to gossip for a second, okay?
Oh, goody.
Yeah, because I can't do it with Jester because she's mad at me and,
Okay. Is there a way I need to like prepare for this, or do I just sit here?
no, like I'm gonna go over there and braid your hair. That's how this is gonna happen.
Okay. Yay, gossip.
So, um, Artie kissed me the other day.
Like kiss, like lips kiss, or like there's other ways of kissing that I don't understand. Kissing, it's weird. I'm trying to engage. I'm sorry.
Yep, with our mouths. Correct.
Gross. Or am I supposed to be excited?
This
Yay.
is going well. This is going so good. This is exactly what I wanted.
How was it?
No, it was great. It was perfect. I feel like, I was waiting for it. It just
So you asked for him to kiss you?
no, that'd be weird. That's not how that works. No, he kissed me, and it just like it's taken so long. It's just like a matter of time. And it was
He was supposed to kiss you sooner?
yeah.
Idiot.
Well, it's not bad. I'm not mad about it. It just this girl talk is really hard with you.
Well, I don't have the things for that.
Okay, so the next question you're supposed to ask me is like, oh, well, how did it make you feel?
Oh, how did it make you feel?
It was amazing. It was great.
Do you want to do it again?
Yeah, absolutely. Also a little conflicted, I guess.
About?
Um, I I don't know. It just feels strange to be happy, right?
I thought you were supposed to like be happy to be happy.
More complicated than that.
Okay. Well, I'm if you're supposed to be, I'm happy for you. That already him and I did have a conversation about you that night that we got really hungry.
Did it go just as awkwardly?
I don't think this is awkward.
Okay. Good.
But no, overall it went pretty well. He talked about how you make him feel, how you got him to a point where he hasn't been himself in a very long time. He has this um, covering on himself all the time, but you are able to take that off and he can show himself. He went over the overall um, excitement that happens when you two are together. I think that's about it. He said he really likes you. That's what it was. I asked him if he was doing a mating ritual, and I learned that was not what you say. It's uh um the basketball courting thing. Court 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 boat.
Yeah, let's not call it a mating ritual, okay?
Do you not plan to mate with him? Isn't that the thing? But I've seen humans doing it when you look in through windows and they get really mad.
Let's avoid that topic, okay?
Is it not part of the girl talk? Is that not a thing? No? Okay. No mating. Got it. Kissing's fine.
But I didn't say that it let's just call it dating for now, okay?
Have you guys gotten on a date?
Mhm.
How was that?
Then it ended up being like a weird sex club, but
See? It all comes back to this.
if that was the intention, then definitely. But no, we had a good time. We danced. I really like being around him.
Good, because he likes being around you. I don't see what the problem would be then. I don't see why you're feeling the the conflictions. You should be happy. What was the thing you told me? Sit in the thing you're feeling and let that just be there for a moment. Just feel happy. Forget everything else that's happening around you and just think about you and Artie and that moment that happened. And just don't worry about anything else. Just feel.
Yeah, that actually was really helpful.
Oh, you taught me that, so I was just repeating.
So what you're saying is I need to take my own advice.
I did say that. Yep.
Okay, I can do that.
No, Artie he's a good guy. A little weird, and he does annoy me with his constant back and forth where he's on my side and then he's not. And the stupid ragabash things. But no, he's helpful. His overall output on or input on things is helpful because it does give both sides, which can help the overall sight of what's going on.
Yeah, and I mean, be a little boring if he was just like yes man all the time, right?
Yeah. No, I feel like saying yes right now is incorrect.
No, it's good to have opinions, is what I mean.
Oh, I agree. Yes. And I don't think you should feel bad about it. Now, if he does do something, just let me know. And I got holes all over this place.
I'll keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. And we can find another one. Like,
Also, no more drugs.
I didn't do drugs.
You did do drugs.
No. You said never do drugs, and I did not.
That was a drug. That thing that made you super hungry and kind of lose focus.
The explosion of happiness thing? That's what I was told that it was supposed to be done that way.
Not that. When you went and did your what was it? Kin baking?
Oh, yeah. That was already had really good herbs that Joseph and Eliza both didn't have, and it found more people.
Those herbs are drugs, Aiden.
So I was given drugs and I didn't know about it.
Correct.
I can do the get money thing from that, right?
No, not in this case.
Oh. I wouldn't do that anyways, but would want to tell him that I'm going to get his money now.
I mean, you could bring it up all you want, but next time, just say no.
I didn't know. I asked for something stinky. I needed dried leaves, and then I needed something to put it in, and then to burn it.
Yep, that's drugs.
Oh, and then hair from my head and a hair from his.
That's not drugs, but that's still weird. I don't know why you guys needed hair.
I couldn't remember all of it, but I thought Elijah said something that was from me or something like that. I thought she pulled my hair. I couldn't remember.
Okay, well, we'll just make sure we have like a container that you can carry on you that has all the things you need to do your thing next time.
Yeah, Artie had a container that he kept all of his in. It's up in the top shelf, above the stove. In the back, I think it's behind the black and it's the red powder stuff, and the black container is behind that one, and a little aluminum thing.
Good to know. Okay.
Yeah, we can get myself one of those.
Yeah, we'll get you something different, but close enough. In fact, I could even get you that container and you can carry your own stuff in it.
Oh man, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, the kin-seeking thing is weird. But later Artie and I did end up going to that barbecue place, and that was amazing. That was really good. We did get really, really hungry.
Yeah, that happens.
Like hungrier than I've ever been. I thought I would never like be full ever again.
Yeah, that's why we don't do drugs.
Yeah. So those needles I find in the alleyway, keep leaving those alone.
That's just a good general rule, whether they're used for, you know what, just don't touch anything sharp that is not yours, okay?
So many rules. All right.
Yeah, I never thought that I would have to make so many rules, so, it's weird for both of us.
I don't give you rules. Overall. I think stay safe, don't do things that are stupid. But I think that's the umbrella thing.
Yeah, and, call back, follow your own advice.
So, a confession from Aspen and Aiden both may lead to a confrontation between Aspen and Artie at a future date. Speaking of Artie, it's Artie's apartment, a place that Jester and Artie have shared really ever since she made her return to town, return to society, after keeping her head down after the initial news of Stheno's arrest. So, Jester, last week you spoke of an intention to build an army of sorts. Why don't you detail that a little bit more before we begin our scene? What's your
So,
intention?
so my intention for this one is not so much a physical army, but say an army of social justice warriors, those who want to fight for what's right. And in the beginning, what I'm aiming for is to make it more of intelligence gaining. I'm looking to get dirt on Indron, uh, Magadon, any of these corporations that are connected, as well as any I can get on that could help me source out other vampires.
So it begins. In the apartment, Artie is positioned at his desk, kind of typing rapidly on his computer, several monitors, bringing up various screens of networking communities and activist organizations, as well as the various research pages of the various organizations that you have shown a vested interest in. As Artie is typing away, you can see several empty or partially empty cans of energy drinks kind of lining the edge of the desk next to him. And after typing a little bit, his typing kind of starts to slow. You're looking at various kind of dossiers and printouts that he's made for you from over on the couch. And you can hear his typing kind of slow and eventually stop. He takes a kind of a deep inhale of breath. Hey, Jester?
Yeah.
I know that this seems like a really good idea, and I've almost finished putting together an identity profile for you, but I figured we should maybe talk about this a little bit more before we go any further. I know this whole arrest thing, your friends being locked up, is bothering you, and it should. It absolutely should. But I want maybe you to consider something. If we do this, if we go through with this, we could be putting a lot of people in the line of fire. And the last time we got other people involved is kind of why we're here. It's why this situation is happening. We didn't know, of course, and we have more information now about what we're dealing with, but I think it would be reckless of us not to consider that if we do this, if we start this, there could be other people who get hurt because of us doing this, because of us starting this.
I understand what you're saying. And that's why I want us to find the ones that are willing to fight, that don't care about the danger.
But do they
I want
actually
them
know
to
the
know.
full danger? I mean, they might think that they're going up against corporations and against, the machine. But do they know that the machine has fangs and probably a coffin somewhere and will drain them of everything that they have and maybe even control their mind in doing it? I mean, that's what we're talking about. We can tell them that, yeah, they're just fighting the good fight, but do We didn't even know the full risks. Your friends didn't even know the full risks when they got into this. And now they're. And please don't tear my head off for saying this, but they're at the mercy of those things. They're at the whims of those things now. And clearly, what we're facing has no moral boundaries. If it did, they wouldn't have taken your friends. They would have gone straight for you. They don't have anything holding them back from fighting dirty and, as Joseph likes to talk a lot, without honor. They don't care about that, they just care about the result. I think we need to examine everything we're doing here because, yes, you're right. The protests, the picketing, that's all well and good, but it seems like everything we've touched lately has burned up in our hands when we touch it, especially you. And I can try and make a solid, and he kind of points to the monitors, a solid cover for you. And while I like to brag about my accomplishments and my abilities, they might have somebody like me, or better, who can pick this apart. And, again, chase down anything you've touched to get to you. It's frustrating, but I don't know. I think we should think about this a little more and maybe give Aspen some more time to work out her legal stuff and do her lawyer thing to get them out versus.
They can control people's minds. They can literally make them admit to things they didn't do. What legally is going to stop that? It's time to stop playing legal. If they fight dirty, I'm going to fight dirty.
Jester, you were one of the people who was the most upset when people were sacrificed. You are potentially sacrificing more people in this fight. And you're asking me to potentially sacrifice more people in this fight, so I think it deserves some consideration. These people, and he kind of points to another screen where you see a chat kind of going active, going back and forth of, damn the man, save the empire, all kinds of, political talk. These people don't know what we know. They haven't seen it. They only see what they're allowed to see. Yes, it's going to feel great to empower them for a little while. But then when they start dropping, are you going to be able to handle that? Or are you going to turn into Ryder or Eliza? At which point they did win. We signed up for this. They didn't. They just think they're doing what humans are supposed to do, doing the right thing.
We didn't sign up for this.
Didn't we? He told us there were going to be vampires there, and we went after them. We could have just let him go alone and blow himself up or whatever hell could have been wreaked, but we went and we participated. And we poked the bear. We just didn't know how big the bear was. And now we do. And now we're going to poke it even more. I agree, we need to take these organizations down. I agree that they're corrupt and wrong and killing Gaia, but maybe it's a long fight thing instead of an instant action thing. I know you've got a long plan and you laid out all your bullet points. If we're going to start with protests and then we'll ramp up from there, but we might not have the time for that if we start. If we start speaking out against them publicly, we might not have the time. They might know we're already here. They tried something on Aspen, and it didn't work, and I'm sure that's probably pretty gnarly for them. So they're probably already looking for us, and harder than they were before. I'll do it if you want me to do it. I said I'd always help you. I'm going to help you. I just think we have to be ready for a potential blowback from this, and a bad one. And is your heart going to be able to handle that?
I think I need to take a walk. I'll go and grab a hoodie and a hat.
I'll keep working, but I won't start anything until you tell me to, okay?
Stop at the door. What's it gonna take to get them out? Your way.
Well, it's also going to require a sacrifice, but at least we'll get to choose who.
Couldn't this help finding out who to choose?
I can do some research if that's what you want. If you want me to put more attention on that, I'll look to find some suitable candidates.
Yeah, I guess for now do that.
I'm sorry. I just wouldn't be good to you and a good pack mate to you if I just went blindly into this. And he turns around and continues typing, allowing you to leave. So you step out of the apartment. The air has been warmer at night as spring is truly taking hold as the equinox has passed. You can feel it warming up more and more to the point that it's about 60 degrees, even in the darkest hours. There's a little bit of a chill in the air after the recent rain. Where are you going?
I will drive. Well, if Regina is willing to take me, I will drive around for a bit, meandering, not really thinking where I'm going. Just thinking on what Artie said. I'm angry, but not angry enough to do what happened to my people, to others. By the end of working that out, I'll end up outside Ryder's Bar.
That seems like a good time for us to move to a break. When we return, more confrontations, more confessions, and potentially a new direction for Jester's mission. We'll see you in about 5 minutes. See you soon. And we are back. We hope everybody had a good break. In the first half, we saw Jester have a bit of a confrontation between her and Artie both, where her mind may have changed in regards to her approach in handling the issue with Stheno and forming her army. Jester, you took a ride in Regina after your conversation with Artie, and it led you to Ryder's Bar, a motorcycle club in eastern Tampa. When you arrive outside of the completely black, painted, boarded up building, you find that the parking lot is empty, aside from a single motorcycle parked kind of towards the back. What's Jester thinking in this moment?
I don't want to lose any more than I already have. But I have to find a way to go forward. I can't just sit back and do nothing and wait.
So the car comes to a stop in the gravel parking lot. Regina staying primarily quiet throughout most of the trip, and the engine kind of hesitantly coughs its way to being quiet. You climb out of the vehicle and approach the building, and as described before, when it's usually thumping and pounding with music, instead it's just silence. You kind of walk up and check the door, not sure if anybody's home, but as you check, the door opens and you go into the darkened bar area, seeing the light coming from the back room. And actually, there is music playing in the back room upon your arrival. A small boombox radio kind of pumping out some heavy metal anthem. And as you move your way down the hallway to the back room, pushing open the door, you can see Ryder is inside, and he seems to be in the middle of some kind of workout, maybe letting off a little bit of steam and aggression. You can see a newspaper kind of flopped on the table itself, one of the more recent issues from the past couple of weeks. And you can see that he's busy doing push-ups, then standing up and punching what looks to be a big heavy bag that is hanging from a chain from the ceiling of the back room. And as you kind of make your way in, he doesn't turn to face you, but he says, "2 visits in one day. Must be my lucky day. What's up, Jester?"
I came to tell you about Chloe.
One of your friends, right?
Yeah.
Need a drink?
No, I think I'm good.
He kind of gives a couple more punches to the heavy bag, but the last one he hits it with, you hear the chain above the bag snap, and the bag itself kind of go hurtling a couple of feet from the punching position and flop onto the ground. He reaches over and grabs a towel that's kind of strung through the bars of some of the cages that line the one wall and starts wiping some sweat off of his face as he turns around. "All right, tell me." He makes his way over to the table and kind of reaches over to the vest that's slung over the back of one of the chairs and pulls out a long, thick cigar that looks like it's partially smoked already, then lights it up, and then goes to sit at the same chair. "Tell me a story, Jester."
We weren't always friends. In fact, we hated each other. But 10, 12. Over stupid shit, of course. I was too loud in class, too obnoxious. She was too much of a goody-goody. Then it boiled over and we actually fought. Fist flying, scratching, hair pulling. She had some nails on her. But I got some good punches in. And after the adults came and threw us in together in detention, and we got talking, and things weren't different between us. We were kind of the same. So, I'll slip off my jacket. Let's spar. I've got anger to get out of. And, maybe we'll end up okay afterwards. No honor. No permanent damage.
Just a good old-fashioned scrap, huh?
Yeah.
All right. I'll accommodate you. After all, I know a thing or two about enemies becoming friends. Remind me to tell you about my... He kind of falls quiet for a second, then says, "A friend of mine named Cricket sometime. She had nails on her, too." He kind of stamps out the cigar, and climbs up from the chair. So what, you want to do this just au naturel?
No, we can shift between.
As you wish. And he kind of moves over to the open floor space, and you see that he does shift slightly, but he doesn't seem to leave his human form. He goes into a glabro form, growing a little thicker around the body, his muscles kind of protruding a little bit more, growing a little bit taller and a little bit more straight backed. Ladies first. He kind of gestures with an open hand.
I'll shift into Glabro as well.
Okay, go ahead and
My
make the
Glabro.
required rage check. I'll say you're at 2 rage still.
Okay. I was about to ask. No, so I'm gonna lose a rage. Still have 1. Okay. I'm looking for a weak spot.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a wits and insight to try and kind of read his stance and read his positioning, as well as his overall body language, to see if there's anything he appears to be favoring.
Two successes.
He seems to have kind of positioned himself with the more burn-scarred side of his body facing away. His left leg kind of positioned a little bit further back, as if to kind of shield it with his massive right leg, which makes you think that likely his left leg might be a little bit weaker to his form, as he seems to be protecting it in his stance.
Okay. I'm going in for the punch for his more protected stance, but it's more of a feint. I'm not putting much in, so I can position myself behind him to get his weaker or his more burn side.
All right. It's a little unconventional, but I'd like you to roll a strength and subterfuge to make the attack and to try and go in on an angle that would deceive, but would open up an opportunity at the actual place you're looking to hit.
Okay. Three successes.
So you move to go in on his right side, his more kind of healthy looking protective side, before switching up at the last second, trying to hook around to the left to try get a shot in on his left side. And as you do, he just kind of sidesteps and pushes you to the floor before squaring up again on the opposite side, just kind of tisking a little bit like, nice try, little girl.
Yeah, at that point, with the little girl, any types of thoughtful combat is gonna go out, and I'm just going in for a goddamn punch.
Okay, roll me a strength and brawl.
Can I forgot to ask on the last roll, can I also use my favor with the with Gorgon, where I am going up against something that is stronger than me?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can.
Okay.
So go ahead and add an additional die to the pool.
Alright. I'm gonna roll a willpower. Or I'm gonna spend a willpower to reroll. Eight successes.
You launch yourself at him, This time just full of piss and vinegar, not thinking a lot about strategy, just trying to use pure might as you launch forward. As you do, you kind of see him crouch and he launches himself forward as well, meeting you midway in the middle. Your fist kind of launching towards him, he catches your fist by the wrist and spins you around so that your back is to his chest, where he wraps an arm around your neck in a grapple, not doing any damage because you met in the middle. And he just kind of whispers in your ear, "I got to you that easy, huh? Imagine what they're gonna do." And he shoves you back off. He seems to be playing more defensively. He doesn't seem to be going for any attacks right now. He's purely being kind of toying with you almost.
I'm gonna go low and kick him in the balls.
Okay. So spinning around, you go to throw a leg up at him. Give me another strength and brawl.
I'll spend one more willpower and reroll.
Okay.
5 successes.
5 successes. So you launch a kick up to his groin with the intention of hitting him in the private parts, and he again steps back and catches your foot, as I'm considering that a called shot. That'd be a -2 successes. He catches your leg and then pulls you in really close to him, and then just like an asshole gives you a little peck on the cheek before shoving you back off again. Oh, now you're just flirting.
That is so gross. You're like, what, 40?
Maybe you're a gold digger. You want all of this, huh? Hoping to get some of the inheritance?
Yeah, no. I'm gonna go and try to trip him.
Okay. So go ahead and give me a... Let's go dexterity and brawl on this one, since your intention is to kind of outmaneuver him in a way that you can get some leverage and push him over.
Come on, dice. Can you be a bit nicer to me? There we go. Nine successes with a crit.
Okay. So this time, getting more and more frustrated, and after this round, I'll say you gain another rage back because he is literally just demeaning you. He is insulting you. He is playing with you, clearly. You move in and wrap a leg around the back and start to push him back over. Now, he's very sturdy in his base, but you do see him kind of start to slip a little bit and start to lose his footing, almost backpedaling a lot, allowing you another opening, which I will say I will give you an additional dice on top of your additional dice from your favor on your next attack. He is off his balance.
Okay. I think I am going in for a throat punch.
That'll be a called shot if you want to do
Oh.
it. So it'll be a -2. Anything really
No.
specific, especially a small area.
Yeah, good point. Would the gut and chest area be a called shot?
If you wanted to do like a palm to the chest or something, I would say no. But you were
Okay.
looking for like really narrow spaces, so
Yeah, I'll do a palm to the chest.
okay.
And I'll spend another willpower. Okay, there we go. I got 2 criticals.
2 criticals. 2 pairs of criticals?
Yes.
Okay. So that's
Hold
8
on.
successes.
8 plus 4 more, 12 successes.
Okay. So with him off his balance, you kind of send a palm, almost like a missile, into his chest, which causes him to just almost grunt in almost a gasping motion as all of the air leaves his lungs and sends him sprawling back on the floor with a big thump onto the ground. He is completely laid out prone now, and he kind of wheezes out, "All right, what was it, the kiss or the little girl remark?"
Both.
"Good." And he kind of stays laid back on the ground a little bit, laid out prone for the moment.
I will stand there panting. This didn't help much.
What would help?
We're not even yet. But I have 2 things that will make us even.
Yeah? What's that?
1, you trained me to fight. 2 is a little harder, because you have to admit something to yourself. And I don't know if you're ready for that.
You lost me after the harder bit, but okay. What's that?
You're sick, Ryder. Mental illness is just as much of something, and we feel it worse. Just as bad as a physical wound. And when you admit that, you take the path, we find a way to help you. And I will be there along the way with you. Because quite honestly, maybe helping you will stop me from going down the path that you've walked.
He kind of lays there for a minute, still staring up at the ceiling, contemplating your words as much as the hulking mass that he is can. Maybe we can do both. A lot sooner than you think.
Then maybe this little scrap worked.
I can get your friends out tonight.
How?
Let's just say this old dog's got a few more tricks he can pull. But we don't have time to round up the others. We don't have time to have a big powwow, a big, "Is it gonna be right?" We would have to go. Besides, there's no better learning than in the field.
Let's do it.
I hoped you'd say that. And he kind of pushes himself up. And as he kind of stands up, you can see the quickly, rapidly spreading bruise on his sternum slowly starting to kind of discolor and then change back to his normal kind of fleshy color. Yeah. I had a feeling you'd say that. He kind of moves over to the cage and reaches into his jean pockets and pulls out a set of keys, undoes the lock, unclicking it, pulling the chain off the bars, and pulling it open and reaching up and grabbing the clave. They might be mad at us, but I'll make you a deal. Maybe it'll make it a little easier. We won't kill anyone.
And no What about explosions?
None of those either. This is going to be quick and maybe a little bit messy, but no explosions.
All right, let's go.
And with that, Ryder and Jester head out the back door of the building climbing onto the motorcycle. Ryder kind of looks to you, then looks at the open seat behind him. She's not gonna go. Looking over towards the car, or towards the Jeep.
I'll glance at Regina. Do what you think is best. And then I'll hop on behind Ryder.
And with that, the two of you go riding off. We will resolve the prison escape next week. But for now, we find Aspen and Joseph arriving at the cemetery, the place that is to become the cairn, or at least be reawakened as the cairn, possibly still of the Weeping Willow. Aspen, this is your first time going to these particular memorial gardens. You can see that it's actually become a very well-manicured location. For a city-owned facility, that's saying something, because city-owned facilities don't take care of themselves nearly as well as those privately owned. Joseph, you know that she hasn't spoken to grandmother. You know that she hasn't even seen the grounds. What are you feeling knowing that your pack leader, your self-appointed and agreed-upon leader, is seeing the work that you've put in for the first time?
Less nervous than before. He's gaining more confidence with that place. So there's actually a little bit of pride in the work that he's done, and in being able to introduce another member of the pack to grandmother.
So it's nightfall. A little bit later in the evening than when you'd gone to see Ryder earlier. But you feel like you've kind of settled that affair, which puts you in a really good headspace for this. Aspen, you had your conversation with Aiden a little bit earlier before taking this little trek. How are you feeling about all of this?
She's taking Aiden's advice for the most part for the day. Just like enjoying seeing the new place and being excited and hopeful about things to come and trying not to focus too much on all the negativity.
So as Joseph's car pulls into the cemetery, it starts down the long avenue, and while it's after dark and the cemetery is usually closed, Joseph, you've done a pretty good job of making sure that there's plenty of lighting available. Even though it's not open to the public at these hours, you know the way in, you know how to navigate it, and you know that nighttime security isn't going to think twice about you being here. Driving down the long avenue through the curtain of Spanish moss that hangs from the trees on either side, the moon shines brightly upon the large standing willow tree that stands apart from all of the other surrounding foliage. Aspen, it might seem like a normal tree in your previous life. Without any experience, it's probably something you take for granted. Although it does stand out from most of the other kind of trees and other woodlands around the area, being odd that it's a willow tree amongst various other kinds of trees. You wouldn't think anything of it, but because of everything you've heard, everything you've experienced, you can feel a certain presence, a certain power, and almost an intimidating majesty coming from this particular tree. Joseph, you pull up into the spot closest to grandmother. She seems to be taking less and less umbrage with your passings by and your visits as of late. And the scene is yours.
That's her.
Wow, she's beautiful.
Yeah. Even more so on the other side. One day, we'll see. So when we go in, we enter with respect. I will be doing a few little things that I've been doing every time to welcome us in. It's a me thing. It's not necessarily an everybody thing, but yeah, just be respectful. I know you know how to do that, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. And he'll lead her in, stop, drop his little bits of herbs on the threshold as he normally does. Whisper his standard greeting, and then approach the tree.
So Aspen, as you follow behind Joseph approaching the tree, you can see that it is, in fact, a willow tree that stands very, very tall. It's clearly rooted very deep. It's got a wide base. It's lived here for quite a long time. But it hasn't existed this long without its fair hardships. You can see that there are some etched in kind of initials and various graffiti that's been kind of carved into the bark of the tree. But you do see a neatly lettered sign nearby that says, "Don't touch." As you approach, the wind kind of starts to pick up a little bit, sending, the excess of your coat kind of flapping in the wind ever so slightly as you make your way up. There's a slight chill in the air, but it's not that unusual, more than it is the temperature right now. But there's definitely an uptick in activity as you approach.
She will just stay close to Joseph as he's kind of doing his thing. A little bit nervous, she'll lean over to him. Is there something I should do?
Not yet. But when I introduce her, you can say hello.
Okay.
And as they get closer, he'll get to the point where that comfort level is not fully in contact. He'll bow quickly and say, "Grandmother Willow, I have someone else to meet you. This is Aspen Weiss, the Philodox and leader of our little pack."
And Aspen will pipe up. It's very nice to meet you, grandmother. I've heard wonderful things about you.
The wind around the tree kind of gusts again, and as it brushes against the branches of the tree, you can kind of hear them clicking together as the wind kind of passes over them. And as they do, almost like a slight kind of rubbing, scraping sound seems to emanate. And you swear you hear Aspen from the tree.
She'll just nod her head and bow a little bit.
At this point, 2 leaves break off of the tree and kind of start to float their way down on the wind, making like a little whirling loop-de-loop as they drop towards the ground. And one lands on Joseph's already awaiting hand. The other kind of presses up against your chest.
She wishes to speak with us, and this will open our ears.
Okay. What do we do with it?
Put it in his mouth, chew it.
No hesitation. She just puts it in her mouth too.
So as you place it into your mouth, a slightly toxic acidity kind of touches your tongue. And as it does, you kind of see your vision slightly start to blur. You hear the noise of the wind slightly start to change until it seems to be almost like a raspy kind of cackle a little bit that seems to be emanating from the tree. Well, hello there, Alpha.
Hello. So nice to meet you finally.
I have to say, You're not as big as the last one who would call themselves leader, but there's a strength in you yet.
Yes, I know I physically look small, but don't let that deceive you.
I never have, my dear. I've seen those smaller than you tear down entire buildings with their bare hands. So you seek to rebuild the sept, then? You seek to lay down roots, as Joseph says?
Yes, absolutely, as long as we have your permission.
I have given my permission so far for this exercise, but others have tried and failed. You must understand this. There is a change in the air, in the wind. Not just from the things you've done, the good you've done, the healing that has begun, but a change from the realm of the Weaver as well. Something is stirring. The worm is stirring. Why do you think that is, Alpha?
I think with growth comes growing pains. And us being here is growth in itself, but that awakens other things that need to be taken care of.
She's quite wise, Ash Speaker. But those are platitudes, my dear. Yes, you could speak of change and growth and seasons. I've seen all of this. But something else happened recently, didn't it?
Yes.
Well?
I don't know much, so I can't give you much information, but I believe that the vampires, leeches are aware of us.
And you know what that means, don't you?
Yes, I do.
And are you ready?
Yes. As ready as us pups can be.
From wisdom to ignorance in just a single question. You are not ready. But you can never be ready. They are unnatural. They are a stain, a taint upon the very existence, upon the very ground in which you walk. Nothing is meant to live the way they live. Nothing is meant to exist. Death is a natural part of the cycle, and they forsake it.
I understand that. And as you said, we can never be fully ready, but I think we're ready to understand and rebuild and protect what we need to protect.
We shall see. They have soiled these grounds before. They will come looking here. They, in their limited understanding of us, of you, They know power when they see it, when they feel it. Their warlocks have cruel sorceries that help them detect such things. They've even, a time or two, crossed over through some foul means that left the gauntlet scarred and tainted. If you're lucky, perhaps they will underestimate you and only send a few. If you're not, they may put the full force of their might behind it. What will you do then, Alpha?
We've brought in allies, ones who've dealt with them before, and continue to build relationships with ones still around. And I believe having knowledge of the past and history allows us to not repeat it.
The Spirit Whisperer and the Warrior.
Yes.
I must admit, it is good to hear her voice again. She had been silent for far too long. Unable to hear, unable to speak, unable to see. But you brought her back, didn't you? Something
Yes.
very few of your kind have ever been able to accomplish. But you believe you can do it with him too now. Lightning striking twice, as it were.
I do. I do believe we can.
What makes you so confident, for one so young?
I believe within us all is a deep want to be together, to protect together. And we're better together.
There was another who spoke like you speak. Unfortunately, their blood still soaks the very ground. But time changes things. Like I said, there's a change in the air. Gaia is slowly recovering. It's not something that goes beyond notice for one who has watched for so long as I have, watched her decay, watched her death. So maybe you are doing something right. Maybe lightning will strike twice. Or maybe it will end like the rest. I can't stress enough. This is our last chance. For if they find you here, if they defeat you, they will raze this very place to the ground.
I would tell you, I'm willing to die for this. And honestly, I am. But even more, I'm willing to live to keep it going.
But I will ask you a question that I asked Ash Speaker the last time he spoke with me. What is your price? Everyone has one, and don't think me foolish enough to believe you don't.
She'll pause for a second, kind of look over to Joseph. turn back. Even being so young, have already lost things. I need to know that there's a reason why we all lose things. And so my price is to make it worth it. So there's not a lot that I wouldn't do to make sure that this happens. But I can't lie to you and say that I wouldn't do everything in my power to make sure this pack stays safe.
What if they could give it all back? Everything you've lost.
If you'd had asked me that, even just a little bit ago, I would have taken that in a heartbeat, honestly. But I think I've gained, sounds cliche, but I think I've gained so much more in the last bit being with these people than I've lost.
How much are you willing to lose? How much more are you willing to lose?
That's the funny thing about loss, is it's hard to fathom unless it's staring you right in the face. I could give you platitudes and say I'm willing to lose everything, but I can't fathom losing everything.
Then let's have it stare you in the face, shall we? And with that, your vision starts to swim. You feel nauseous at first, as if the toxins that you ingested are kind of trying, your body's trying to reject them. Go ahead and roll me a stamina and composure check.
Three.
You're able to kind of keep yourself from vomiting up this vile tasting substance. And as you're kind of blinking, you feel tears kind of stinging at the corner of your eyes. And when you open them again, there's fire. Looking about desperately, kind of turning to look either way, you actually see that your arms are restrained, pinned back, held back behind you. But looking down at your body, it's not you. Although it is at the same time, you feel like this weird kind of understanding concept of this form that you're in. In one instance, it's a very muscular, masculine structure. In the other instance, it's the more petite, feminine form you bear. And as you're kind of looking around desperately to see the source of whatever's holding your hands back, you look up and you see a woman with short, curly brown hair, extremely strong, kind of in front of you, with her arm around the neck of Artie. As you're staring at this sight, you're trying to wrench your arms free, and you can see Artie is kind of trying to struggle against what's happening. And you see her simply reach down, grab one of his arms, and tear it clean from his body. He lets out a blood-curdling scream of anguish. She reaches over to the other arm and does the same, tearing it off like a chicken wing from the base of the body. His desperate screams almost become like a gurgle, like the breath and air is leaving his body. And then She reaches over and inserts her fingers into his mouth. And with like a smile and a twist of her head, she pulls. And in a moment, as you can see the top half and the bottom half of his face separating, the image changes. And you see a very muscular, lean woman in his grasp, her head shaved completely bald, as she tears the top the rest of the way off. And you feel your heart just crumble. You let out a scream of anguish as your arms are released and you drop forward, and you're looking in a puddle that seems to be kind of rippling. It's a puddle of blood that bears a reflection, and you see Ryder's face, bloodied and beaten, kind of staring down into this puddle. And then you return to your body and to this moment. You find yourself on all fours at the base of the tree. What are you feeling?
Heartbroken. Not just for her, because I think she has some sense of what's real and what isn't, but for Ryder and what he had to witness and what he had to go through. And when she gets a moment to kind of steady herself, I think it's less of fear and more resolve.
Go ahead and roll me a composure and resolve check.
So that would be a crit and then another success. So 5.
Okay. I was going to give you some stains towards Hirano off of what you saw, but because you rolled so well, you get nothing. You are able to maintain your composure and not take any damage from what you just witnessed. You do steady yourself, and you do kind of come back to your senses of realizing these aren't your memories. This hasn't happened yet. At least not to you. And your empathy tells you that you understand where that anger and rage comes from as you gain another point of rage from the experience. But at the same time, you feel sorrow, you feel pity, but you feel yourself again.
She takes a deep breath in and just kind of like looks over to Joseph again. Almost just like in these moments, she just looks to him for reassurance, just to, I don't know, feel the comfort of somebody else being there.
Would Aspen have cried? Would tears be running down her face from the experience?
She would be misty-eyed, but it would almost be like a holding back of tears.
I'll agree with that, with the composure and resolve roll you made. So you could see kind of the tears welling up in her eyes, but she does still seem to be steady in herself at the moment, as she kind of is pushing herself up from her hands and knees.
You got this.
Okay.
They consume everything. This is the worm, though they'd have you believe otherwise. This is their purpose and what they will and have done. So I ask you again, Alpha, are you ready?
Yes. And I would actually ask that you oblige me and show me more as we build this cairn. I want to know all of it.
Give me a charisma and persuasion.
Can I use my favor since it's kind of a suggestion?
Yes.
Okay. That is 6.
You kind of see, or at least hear, her tone slightly change to one of respect and kind of. She's pacified as she says, I will do as you ask, Alpha. Perhaps you have something the last did not.
Thank you.
Don't thank me yet. The things I have to show you are many, and that was just a taste.
I mostly want to say thank you for the opportunity.
As Aspen is confronted by Ryder's past and the past of the cairn and the things that Willow has seen, Aiden confronts the future, or at least what they hope to be the future. Aiden, you find yourself on the campus of the University of South Florida. There are many dorms and various buildings where vast learning beyond your comprehension takes place. But one thing that these schools don't teach is street smarts. And you have that aplenty from your years of coming to terms with what it is to be wolf and human in the same body. What is Aiden thinking as he follows the scent that still lingers in his nose and in his mind of Terrence?
He has a lot going through his head as far as the campus and around him. Like, these buildings are large and there's a lot of people here. But as far as Terrence, he's concerned. He has his self-doubts about, like, will he be there in time? Is it going to turn out like last time where he has to get rid of a body? Or is it going to just be great and it's going to be super easy? He doesn't know, and he's constantly in that state of, I don't know what to expect. So he's on in this constant loop of like, it's going to be great. No, it's not.
How are you approaching this encounter? Are you doing so in your Hamid form, or are you attempting to go onto the campus in Lupus form?
Going in Hamid.
Okay.
Probably arrived, like got there via Lupus, and
then
then
in some discreet corner made the
yes.
change so that you could walk among the campus freely. Okay. So as you're walking and it's later in the evening, you can see some students kind of moving about the campus area, either coming from the student center or from the library, heading back to their various dormitories. It's getting late and it is a school night, so most of them are turning in for the evening, but a few late night goers, a few late night study buddies are still kind of out milling about. As you follow the sense, it leads you kind of towards a corner of this line of dormitories, and you can feel the scent kind of pointing upwards. And as you follow the gaze upwards, you can kind of tell that it is coming from a corner room, one of the dormitory rooms, up on the 3rd floor of this particular residence hall. You can see that there's a light on in the window.
I kind of look around and kind of take in the surroundings itself, look at the light. I can't really climb that and can't really be too noticed. So he's going to go to the door of the dormant and see if it's open.
So as you get to the dormitory door and you approach, you see that it isn't open. In fact, it's locked, and there appears to be some sort of like key fob panel on the side that you would need to have like an ID card from the university or something to activate the lock to have it unlocked. So there is a door, but it is locked.
Are there any people around?
Go ahead and roll me a wits and awareness.
Two.
2 successes. As you're looking around, you can see a couple of people moving kind of through the area, the general area, and in fact, you see a pair of individuals that seem to be wearing like windbreakers that have like campus security labeled on them with flashlights, kind of just walking around doing their rounds. They don't seem to be being particularly diligent, just more walking the path and not really bothering with anyone, but they're a little ways off on one of the various walkways kind of moving through the area.
Going to approach them, just kind of walk over, and when I get almost within earshot, I'm gonna start patting myself, like, oh darn, I can't find it. Trying to get their overall attention.
Eventually, the flashlight kind of turns in your general direction. You all right? Can we help you?
The means to get into there, I can't seem to find it. I think I lost it.
Go ahead and roll me a manipulation and subterfuge, as you are clearly trying to put on a performance.
Dos?
Find what exactly?
The pad thing that's over there. I can't seem to find the sorry, I'm super tired. I can't really comprehend what's going on. The thing that I had to put into the pad, I can't get in. I need to get up there. Can you please help me?
All right, I've seen this before. I know it's got to be hard not having a place to go home, but it's warming up, and I'm sure some of the shelters still have space around here, but we can't let you in. It's our job. And I'm going to have to ask you to leave. If you need, I can call you an Uber or something, get you to the shelter, but we can't have you kind of prowling the campus like this. It's just not safe.
All right, thank you. And he'll just kind of walk off.
As you're walking off, you can hear them following you. You can kind of see the bobbing of the flashlight following behind you, trying to make sure that you are actually intending to leave the campus rather than just trying to find another means in.
Yeah, he'll head to the edge of campus and kind of go into just whatever close shrubs or bushes would be nearby.
Go ahead and roll me a dexterity and stealth. They don't seem to be like right on your tail, but you can tell that they've been following from maybe like 100 yards or so distance. So there might be an opportunity for you to slip off unnoticed.
3.
Okay. So as you kind of find an opening, as you turn a corner, you quickly duck into some of the bushes that are surrounding the building, and you can see them kind of walk past. You see one of them pull out a walkie-talkie and say, "Yeah, we got another one, but it looks like they're leaving peacefully. We'll continue our patrol." And they just keep walking until they walk away and out of sight.
Yeah. While in the bush, I'm going to go into my lupus form.
Okay. So making the transition, you kind of stay huddled down in the bushes, which are really, really cramped for you in a Hamid form. You're really ducked back there. But as you make the change and the fur kind of spreads and you feel yourself grow more, slender and lean, you find it to be a bit more spacious once you've made the full transition, that you're not as kind of crouched down and crumpled up as you were before. Now you've got a little bit more room to breathe, and you can kind of still feel the soreness in your muscles from having been held in that position throughout this whole transition. But you do make the change successfully.
Yeah. While In the change, the security guards do I still see them? Are they starting to leave? Are they
No,
going a
they
different
seem to
direction?
have passed through kind of 2 nearby buildings and have continued on.
Okay. Where I'm at currently, I'm going to let out, while still in the bush, I'm going to let out a really loud howl.
Okay, what's your intention with the howl? To get them to come back?
Try and get them to go to that juncture where I'm at, and then loop around and then get back to the campus. And then I'll do another howl if I can make it into the campus to try and get Terrence's at least his attention.
Okay, roll me a wits and awareness check as you let out kind of a long, prolonged howl to try and. Okay. So as you do kind of let out the howl, you wait a few moments to see if they return to investigate, but they do not seem to come back. If anything, you hear kind of the sounds of pounding feet running even further away down the direction that they were headed.
Okay. Yeah. If I don't see anyone, I'm gonna head back into the campus dormitory area, at least into that courtyard area.
Okay. So heading back, go ahead and roll me another dexterity and stealth, as that was a howl that probably would draw less intelligent attention to the area.
Yeah. Three.
Okay, so you make your way back, and you kind of lope down the same walkway, sticking more closer to the building, trying to use some of the shrubbery as coverage to get to until you find yourself underneath the same window that you were looking up at earlier. You're kind of hidden in the bushes still, as you can see back from the direction you came, some people kind of looking out windows and some students kind of standing near the front door of their dormitories, holding the door open, kind of just looking in the direction that you were in.
Yeah, when I get back in front of Terrence's window, I'm going to let out another howl.
And the intention here is to get his attention.
Trying to at least have him see me, hoping that he's going to hoping he'll recognize the wolf that he saw.
Go ahead and give me a charisma and persuasion with this particular howl. Zero successes. So you do see movement up in the window. You do see kind of like a shadowy kind of silhouette of an individual kind of look towards the window, but then quickly kind of looking around, and you do kind of make out the features of Terrence out the window. But then a moment later, you see 2 more arms kind of behind him reach in and pull down the blinds. And you hear some kind of like chatter, very, very muffled, hard to make out any words, kind of coming from behind the window.
Damn. All right. Can I do another wits and awareness to see if anyone's around the vicinity again?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. 3.
Okay, 3 successes. Whatever people you did see previously are now gone. Having heard 2 consecutive howls, anybody walking alone at night and hearing what sounds like a wolf howl in a populated campus is probably pretty scared by now and is not risking it.
Yeah. Going to take any look around for any cameras or anything, and try and make my way over to the door itself, and then go back into a Hamid form.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do see that there do seem to be cameras kind of over the general vicinity of the area, but based off of your positioning, there doesn't seem to be anything covering it specifically. As you kind of make your way back towards the door, you find the same locked door kind of in front of you. But you do see that if you try to move in front of the door, you will see a camera kind of overlooking the door.
He's gonna head back to thinking that this is not gonna work out, going to head over to a another area. Try this another time, or try to. Now he's gonna try and call someone. He's gonna try and get someone to come and help, because this is above his head. Right now, he thinks that Terrence is in danger.
So you kind of head over towards a different area. Are you changing back into Hobbin, like trying to use your cell phone to call somebody?
Yep.
Okay. So as you're kind of loping around the side of the building, trying to find an obstructed place to make the change, to make a call for assistance, just as you're kind of finding a place to kind of settle down and change, you hear a voice from the opposite side of the building. Hey, who's out there? And you recognize Terrence's voice.
Thank God.
As you kind of look around, you see on the opposite side of the building from where you were coming from, you can see him kind of peeking out around the corner.
Noticing that it's Terrence, is going to and will make his way out towards him.
So as you kind of step out of the bushes into sight, you can see Terrence at first kind of become a little bit concerned because, a creature coming out of the bushes is still terrifying to anyone when they're not expecting it. But after a moment, you kind of see him go, "Hey, buddy. What?" He kind of looks around. "What are you doing here?"
Going to look him in the eye and then look up to the moon and then back at him, and then just make sure he's okay.
"Come on. We gotta get out of here. They're gonna have security over here soon. Come on, follow me." And you see him kind of come out, and you can see that he's wearing like long pajama bottoms and basically like a tank top shirt. And he is walking barefoot on the sidewalk and kind of starts hurrying barefootedly on the sidewalk down one direction and kind of gestures for you to follow as he picks up the pace into an almost jog.
Yeah, I'll follow.
Keeping pace with him, he kind of leads you away from the dormitories and across a parking lot until you reach a point that seems to be a little bit more wooded near the kind of the edge of the campus area. He's like, once he gets there, he's a little bit out of breath, but he kind of hunkers down behind some cars on the far end of the parking lot and says, "You came a long way, didn't you, bud?"
Just sit.
"Well, you see him pat the pajama pants pockets, and then he kind of reaches into one, and he pulls out what looks to be a Slim Jim. He peels back the wrapper, and he's like, "I'm not sure you're going to like this, but it's not the worst thing in the world." He breaks off a bit and holds it out for you.
Yeah, I lean forward and gently take it out of his hand and eat the piece.
"Did you come all this way to see me?"
Just sit back down and just kind of let his mouth hang open, tongue hanging out. Really heavy pants.
I don't even know what to think. I'm flattered. I thought I'd scared you or upset you last time I saw you. But that's really cool, and I can't tell anyone because nobody's gonna believe me even if I did. Hey, it's not safe here for you, right? You can't come by here. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I love that you did, and maybe I can come visit you again soon, but like this is people area. You don't understand any of that. It's not safe. And he kind of starts making like hand motions, and you can actually kind of recognize what he's trying to communicate, as if he's, worked with animals like you before. You actually know that the ranger that you used to kind of know back home would use a similar motion. So this is very educated, practiced motions, aka he's using animal ken and being very successful with it. You can't come here. but I'll come to you in a few days, okay?
Kind of snort a little bit towards him, and then look back towards Lettuce Lake, and then back to him.
You want to go to where we've met before?
He'll look back towards Lettuce Lake, and then back to him.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a couple days off this weekend. Maybe after I go to work, I'll come see you.
He'll start panting heavily again.
This is the coolest thing in the world. It's a deal. I'll see you then, and I'll bring an extra cheeseburger next time.
His eyes will get really big.
Oh, you like that, don't you? Okay. All right. Then, yeah, just a couple of days. And he kind of reaches out to pet you.
Drop his head down a little bit, turning his head, giving him the right side of where his ear's at.
And he kind of starts to scratch. And then from further off in the parking lot, you hear a sound. Go ahead and roll me a wits and awareness.
Two.
Terrence, where'd you go, man? Sorry, I gotta go. But couple days, okay? Kind of scratches your head a little bit more and gets up and starts walking away. And as you follow him with your eyes kind of behind the car, you look off ahead and you see another kid, probably around Terrence's age, standing on the sidewalk in the same kind of pajama pants combo, shirtless. And as you study this individual, a recollection hits. The boy, probably about 19 years old, fairly athletic build, with short brown hair. The last time you saw him was sitting with his two friends on the couch in the trailer with the Cult of Fenris. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session. Thank you so much to these amazing players for making this game happen. Go check out St. Pete by Night on all social media down below. Go follow these incredible individuals and stay tuned to Rage Across Tampa. You can catch up on all of the old episodes on YouTube or here on Twitch listed down below. And we will see where this amazing story goes. This week, we've got a whole bunch of content for you. On Thursday, we've got Don't Get Caught, our Anarch Vampire Chronicle. On Friday, we've got What the Hell Is That? Our Hunter the Reckoning Chronicle, their second episode airing on Friday. On Saturday, we've got After Dark, where we're going to be talking to Panchi, also known as Panchi Artista, one of our lovely vendors. And then on Sunday, we have nothing. Oh, Sunday we have Bloody Strings. There's so much stuff, guys. There's so many things. And then we'll be back here on Tuesday next week with another Rage Across Tampa. The only way to stay tuned is to keep an eye on our schedule and stay tuned into all the amazing shows we have here. But thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we will see you next time on St. Pete by Night. Have a good night, everybody.